Check, check, 1, 2. What up, YouTube subscribers? Looks like you guys hit me with 621 subscribers today. Not in one day, but total. But yeah, I'm grateful for you guys. Thanks for subscribing. Pay some bills real quick. At the bottom left-hand part of the screen, there's a advertiser link at the end of the videos. Do me a favor and let those videos play all the way through when you watch my vids. Click on those links and visit those advertiser websites. That helps the YouTube community, helps the people who watch these videos who are trying to learn production and all of that good stuff. All right, so to your pleasure, you'll note that I did hook up a condenser mic this time around, so you won't be hearing all that popping and clicking and crackling from me clearing my throat and whatnot. So yeah, 3 cheers for that. Hip hip hooray. All right, top right hand part of the screen, you'll see an information link. Click on that eye, it'll take you to my new drum kit. It's called Miss Blue Vinyl. Pretty dope drum kit. Thanks in advance for supporting that. All right, so guys, where are we right now? We're with MPC Essentials. Did I say that right? We're with MPC Essentials, and we have the updated latest version of it, and we're about to sample a record player or a vinyl record into MPC Essentials. All right, so hooking a record player up to your computer is a different video. Somebody requests that. I will post that video. It's no problem. But I want to move through this really quickly. All right. So I'll go over the basics of the routing into MPC Essentials, and we'll get started. Okay. At the top of the screen, click on your MPC Essentials link. If you have no idea what you're looking at, you might want to go back and look at a couple of my other videos to figure out these little circles, these squares, and these values, and this slider, and all this area, and this up here. I have other videos for that. All right, so I want you to go to Preferences, bada bing. Once you have, you definitely need a sound card. So whichever sound card your record player is running into, I have several different inputs and outputs. So you'll see here, I have my USB audio codec. It's a really small sound card that accepts RCA. So I run RCA out of my record player into my MPC Essentials, or my laptop essentially. So yeah, the ability to record your own vocals is there too. You just select your mic input here, and then you just sing into it or rap into it or whatever, and then chop your vocals up and throw some effects on it or whatever. But we're not doing that. We're going to do the vinyl joint right now. Let me make sure my mini is being accepted. I had a crash earlier. MPC Essentials crashed because I was trying to stream and record and do everything, chop a sample up, convert the video while it's up streaming, and blah blah blah. Anyways, you guys know how to do it too. It's really laid back, so I was trying to do too much at one time. All right, so now that we have our routing correct, what you want to do is go to the menu up top and then select the sample record function or icon. It's a microphone with a little squiggly wave, like a chord or something. All right. So basically we have our cue links here, pad, same thing. But what I want you to focus on is the sampler, this area. All right. This shows your sample length, which you get 20 seconds, your record button. Your input, we already selected from the sound card. You can also resample from MPC Essentials. I usually turn the inserts off. You don't want to record effects onto your vinyl sample. I mean, unless you're going for a certain sound, you can really mess your sample up. Okay, so we have input monitor, which we'll turn on in a second, and you can choose whether you want to input left and or right, and then you can choose whether MPC Essentials treats this as a mono or a stereo recording or stereo sample, mono sample or stereo sample. So I'm going to turn my input monitor on, and then you'll hear the feedback from the electricity flowing through the record player. That classic electricity sound, that hum, that low hum. Okay, so the threshold knob is there for when you hit the record button and you want it to start recording after the sound reaches a certain level, and that's cool. I usually just put it here because I want it to start recording when I press record. I don't always hit the groove on the beginning of the measure the way that I want, which that doesn't really matter with MPC Essentials because you can chop. And I'm going to show you guys how to extract the area that you actually want to use for sample chopping and putting onto the pads. So let's go ahead and capture our sample. I'm going to hit record, and then I'm going to put the needle to the groove. Alright, so we got our 20 seconds. You could do 2 seconds, you could do 15 seconds, you could do whatever you want to do. I just maxed it out just to kind of take a look at, you know, the options that I might have. So we'll call this, we'll call it Funky Flute. Okay, we'll put it in program 1. Do I want to assign it to a pad? No, not just yet. And we'll put it on root note 3. Okay, root note C3. That's a very high 3, but whatever. I'm saying a very high C, but that's okay. We can put it on C2, C1, whatever. So when we press keep, we'll notice that it says new sample in this section, but it will rename it what we put it as. We put Funky Flute, and then we press keep. Bada bing. Okay, so now that we have our sample recorded, right? We have it on program 1. We're going to highlight Funky Flute, and then we're going to select the sample edit section. Now I have a whole entire video on sample edit. I'll be going over a bunch of that crap now. Again, but not everything, just some of the basics. All right, so I want you guys to take note of these markers. When I highlight it, it turns red, it's green. Whichever one is red is the one that you're currently using to isolate a certain area. We'll use this for truncating and looping and all different type of functions. But right now we're going to use it to truncate or chop or extract this particular area of the sample. So the pads below now double as functions. Alright, so we just want to play the sample while we have the pad selected. So let's see what this area sounds like. We could choose that section, or we could choose an entirely different section. Let's see what this section sounds like. I'm going to zoom into this section because I really only want a couple chops from the beginning. And so chopping is really an art form. And you really chop before you actually chop. You chop in your brain before you actually start chopping. So this first chop right here is really nice to me. Okay, so we are selecting this area. And again, I only want a small amount of the beginning of this particular vinyl piece. And so I'm just going to select that area. I'm not going to go too hard on it. I'm just I'm gonna just get this little area right here. That's all I want. So I'm going to zoom into this end area just to get the beginning of this transient. And the next thing that I'm going to do is extract this area from the sample. So we have funky flute, but what we're going to do is go to the slice section. Okay, let me zoom out so you guys can see. We have a 20-second sample, but we're only going to take this area to chop. All right, so we're going to go to the slice section, right? And then we're going to click on extract. In MPC Essentials, it's like, okay, cool, got you. And you could select another function from here, but you know, since you chose extract, you can extract, you can delete. Actually, there's a whole bunch of functions. I went over that in the other video. So we'll call this funky flute extract. Okay, so then I'm gonna click do it. And so in the sample sections, the funky flute extract should pop up after it processes this. So truncating back in the day on a full-size standalone MPC was all the numbers game. It was all numbers. And so you had to be up on your math to be able to chop up a sample back in the day. And then we came up with the newer samples where you could actually see the waveform and chop it like this. But I would say prehistoric samplers had no such cigar. No such cigar. Alright, so I am processing video and audio. Alright, cool. Doo-doo-doo-doo. So now what I'm going to do in the sample edit section, I'm going to select the funky flute extract. It should go from this waveform to this one, and this is what we just extracted. And so let's play that. Alright, so we good. Now what we want to do is chop this sample up on the pads. I actually have a video that goes in depth of how to take a sample and chop it up. And so if you want to go back and take a look at that, that's cool. I'm gonna lightly go over sample chopping really quick. Alright, so the first thing we want to do is we're going to go from trim here in this menu to chop. We want to make sure link slices is on. I go over that in the other video. And we want to make sure that we pay attention to the chop section. So we have manual chop, which manual chop gives you a cursor to click on to chop each sample. Right now I'm going to click on regions. Regions will automatically give you 16 chops. And you can actually set it to BPM. That will give you 16 chops as well. But with regions, it's different because you get a chance to tell it, you know, how many samples you want. And so you can audition it by clicking on the bottom half of the sample. That's a bit much. I really don't need 16 regions. And so I'm gonna drag this down to about, I really only want about 3 chops, but I'm gonna go with 4. Okay, let's drag this over just a little bit. Catch the beginning of that. Alright. Alright, I like that. So we got 3 nice chops. And we could actually go 8 if we wanted to. We could go 8 chops. So select regions, and then we will select 8. All right. Same thing, we'll audition here. That's that first note. Then we'll go here, catch the beginning of that transient here. We just want that note. And we'll let chop number 4 be the beginning of this transient. Alright, sample number 5 will be the beginning of this transient. Sample number 6 will be the beginning of this transient. Seven sounds like it's right on point. And so the final chop, sample number 8, will be here. I'm pretty sure. That sounds great. Okay, so we have our slices input into regions. So now what we want to do is extract this into a new program so that we can throw these onto the pads and we can replay them. So I want you to pay attention to the chop manual section. Go all the way down to non-destructive convert. I covered that in the other video, okay? We're gonna set up a new program. We'll do non-destructive slice. New program using slices. I cover the create events in the other video. Don't pay that any mind. I'm gonna press do it, or just go and watch the other video. Okay, so now we're gonna go to the main menu. Actually, we're gonna make sure that we select Funky Flute Extract. All right. I'm going to select all of these events and delete them. I don't need those. I just like to see them. Okay, so now we see that we have our samples selected and placed onto the pads. And so I'm going to move these samples up to the upper half just by dragging and dropping them, because that's where I want them to be. I'm going to take some drums and I'm going to put them on the bottom, the lower half. So that way I'll be able to play drums and my samples with this one particular program. And so it gives us a nice little window of being able to audition samples while we play our audition drums while we play our samples. Okay, so let's see what they sound like. Okay, so I'm going to take all of these and I'm going to put them in the same X group. I don't want to put the overall program into the same X group because that will conflict with our drums. And so, give me a second. Let me scroll over. And I need to highlight my, I'm sorry, they're not X groups on MPC, they're mute groups. So I'm going to select the sample that I want to mute, and then I'll just put all of these into mute group 1. So we have 8 samples. We'll put all 8 of these samples into mute group 1. And if you notice, next to the mute group, you have other functions that you can use. I'll keep all of these on one shot and mono because I only want them to play one time all the way through, and I want them to cut each other off so that I don't have that I don't have those fossils from where samples play on top of each other. Mute group 1. Okay, and so sample number 8 on pad 16 or A16. We'll put him in mute group 1 as well. Okay, so pads 1 through 8 don't have any sounds on them, so we can feel free to drop drums on those pads. Let's make sure these cut each other off though. Okay, cool. We're good to go on that. So now I'll go back to the main menu. Bada bing. Go back to the main. Those sound really, really nice. I might have to keep this. And I'm just going to open up some stock drums that came with MPC Essentials so that you guys are able to follow along. You may or may not have the record that I sampled, but that's too bad. Alright, so I'm going to open up, let's go with Elements of UK Dance, and I'm going to go to the sample section. For my tempo, for this beat, I'm going to go with something like 140. Go with something double tempo. Actually, let me do 150. I think I'm going to audition to see what that sounds like before I move forward. If you don't know how to change the tempo, go back and check out some of my other vids. I'm going to press play and turn my metronome on. You know, I'm going to give myself about 8 bars. Nope, not 10. 8. Alright, make sure my loop is on. Okay, I'm going to press play. That sounds nice. Alright, so in UK dance, I'm going to go to the K, kick menu. Let's drop that down. And I'm going to audition a couple kicks. I need to go back to the main menu though, so that I can drag these onto the pads. That's not a kick. That's not a kick either. I like that kick bass. I'm gonna just kick bro. I'm gonna pick Brofo, just for time's sake. Drop him on A1. Gotta process him. Put him on the pad. All right, here we go. All right, so now we need a snare. Or clap. So I'm gonna highlight the S menu. I'm gonna select Snare Bro 6. Put him on A2. Let that process real quick. Go ahead and record that. Got a nice little drum pattern going. Let me open the mixer up real quick. So my samples may be a little too loud to play over these drums. So I just want to turn them down some. Looks like my mute for the entire program is on. So I'm going to go back to the program edit. I'm going to slide my fader over. Not my fader. And I'm going to turn this on to poly instead of mono. That's nice right there. Again, my samples are playing a little bit too loud on top of these drums, and so I want everything to have a flow to it. So I'm gonna go back to the mixer, and I'm gonna just bring my samples down some. So I'm gonna start with A8, which is where my samples are. I'm sorry, A9. Bring the samples down just so that they aren't too loud on top of the beat. And this will actually be a nice thing to do for whoever is mastering or mixing this particular beat, because a lot of times those guys get projects that are way off the Richter when it comes to the levels. And so it's always good to make sure you have a really tight mix before you actually start mixing, because mixing is really all about tweaking, and mastering is really all about frequencies. I might have to patent that, frequencies, and your sequences. So I'll just bring these levels down to a comfortable place, and then I can turn them back up as I go. I just want to get a good flow, and sometimes you want your samples to be at different levels. You don't want everything to be at the same place. like that. So I'm going to stop it. Cool. Bring my cursor from the beginning. All right, here we go. Looks like a couple of my notes are off. I'm gonna go in there and fix those. I'm gonna go over here and audition a couple of hi-hats. That sounds good. The third one. Alright, cool. That's good enough for me. Throw a like, comment, subscribe. Thanks a lot. 2 fingers. Peace.